Hello, everybody. It's Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. It's Saturday. It's March 23rd. It's time for another emailer or subscriber encounter story. Now, I've got to start by saying this. This is disturbing, okay? This is more for the new people. If you're new, subscribe to Bigfoot, Michigan Rob on YouTube. As you guys know, when I get these stories in, I put them out as an encounter, an experience, okay? This story is no different than any other. I find it disturbing. A lot of the things in this, I believe, a lot of these things is up for debate. Okay? I'm going to say that. As you know, I'm transparent and I'm honest. But, as I said, I never walked in anybody's shoes. So, if you send me a story, I'm putting it out there. I don't sit back and spend 45 hours of vetting a story. I don't. You guys know that. Especially those of you that have followed my channel, and thank you for that. This is about DOGMAN being created in a laboratory. This is a story from a woman who I don't even know if she's alive today. And I got to tell you briefly how I came across this. I came across this in my spam folder because I have all these stories I go through to present to you guys, and I don't go in my spam too often, and I found a series of emails from a different email. And my intuition said, Rob, open it. Microsoft said it was good. It went through the check. It wasn't going to be a virus. I started reading these. But they were sent to me a long, long time ago. I finally put it together and read these. Not everything in the emails am I going to divulge because it just frankly would have been too long of a video. I'm going to do a live show on this. But I'm going to give you the basics on this. Take it for what it's worth, as I always say. Some of this, I believe, is fact. Some, again, it's open for good, healthy debate. That's why I do want to do a show on this. But I do believe this. It talks about creation of DOGMAN, as I said. These humanoids that are being made in laboratories, and it talks about New World Order. And I've done shows on New World Order before. It exists today. It exists. This has got everything in it. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. My audience, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I've never walked in anybody's shoes other than my own. That's why I do put these out. And I appreciate you guys. I love you. Subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. You know where to find me. You know about my book. I'm going to get on with this on this Saturday afternoon. The creation of the genetic DOGMAN, BMR. Hello, Rob. It took me a while to contact you, and thanks for your listening to me via my encrypted emails that I've sent to you. I have to apologize for changing the email address each time that I corresponded with you, and I know it was a little bit confusing for you at times. For what I have done is an abomination. The forces in play here are not our government, which they have no control. This goes much deeper. It goes as deep to where my silence depended on my life and that of my daughter. To put this in simpler terms, this organization, of which I will refer to as Operation Z, and I will refer to myself as Nancy, again, to terrorize me, and to prove that my life and my daughters are in danger or at stake, is the fact that Operation Z kidnapped my daughter for a 24-hour period that returned her safely only to prove a point. This is a risk writing to you. It seems my conscience is taking over me. Also, about a year ago, you did a story on your channel about militant dogmen. The story of a man performing secret experiments for, as he described, a governmental agency. I must tell you, Rob, I would say 60% of that account was absolutely accurate. Before I continue, I want to give you some background. I was given away at birth and grew up through the system. My parents must have been extremely intelligent, as I was blessed with an extremely high IQ. Despite being bounced around as a young child, I finally was taken in by a family permanently. I was deemed odd on most evaluations from our so-called child services organizations. I graduated high school at the top of my class and went on to medical school. After completing my residency, I practiced general surgery. My education did not end there, as I received advanced degrees in genetic engineering, recombinant DNA testing, which is a forensic science used to help with crime scene samples to help prove the guilt or innocence of the accused. I became well versed in DNA splicing, manipulation, and later, well before artificial intelligence was a thing, had accumulated expertise in that field. A decade or so after working as a general surgeon, I took on a job researching and developing cloning and advanced DNA manipulation utilizing animals and other non-human subjects. Then I was paid a visit to my home one sunny afternoon several years ago. Please excuse me for not being precise about dates, states, or locations, as I fear perhaps I have already divulged too much information. The visit started out charming and polite. I was visited by one man and one woman. They both were dressed to the nines and spoke extremely brilliant. Chills rang through my entire body as they began to recite my entire life from childhood to my present day. Much like an open book, they claimed to know my birth parents, whom they did not divulge, only to say they are now deceased. They knew where I went to school, what I studied, who I dated, my favorite food, color, my favorite vacation spots. They knew more about me than perhaps I even did about myself. I will skip the rest. They did not divulge who they were, who they worked for, or where they came from. They simply told me that this work would change the course of humanity. They told me that I had no choice and was to leave with them that day. I refused. I told them to leave. Then the man made a phone call. He gave me the phone. It was my daughter. She was on the other end of the line. She was scared and held captive. But for now, she was not harmed. She begged me to do what was being asked of me. She knew about my being visited. Suddenly, the phone went dead. The woman spoke. Your daughter will return safely to you with your cooperation. The man spoke. We took these steps to validate the high importance of our visit. We will pay you handsomely, and you and your daughter will be safe and taken care of. Left without a choice, I left with these visitors. We arrived at a small airfield early the next morning, and all I could think about was my daughter. I got out of the black sedan, which we were transported. proceeded onto a plane, and to my joy, my relief, there was my daughter. We embraced, we cried. The plane taxied down the runway, and our new life began. The plane landed on a small airstrip in the middle of the desert. I could not quite determine if I was in the United States, Africa, or another continent. The windows on the plane were all black. They were tinted. You could not see out them. Upon landing, we got into a small Jeep and proceeded to a small rectangular piece of concrete out in the sand in the middle of the desert. One of the passengers that traveled with us walked over to a small keypad on a metal post no higher than 3 or 4 feet above the ground. He punched in what seemed to be a code. The cement slab opened, leading to a staircase down beneath the ground, beneath the sand. I was greeted by the person in charge at this time, who I'll call Frank. He led me on a tour of this underground laboratory. There had to be 50 people or more working on what I called the main level. My anxiety levels are high. I'm confused. My mind is elsewhere. I said aloud aggressively, "Stop with this fucking tour. Why in the fuck am I here? Let's cut the introductions. You know who I am, so who the hell are you? And what are we doing here? I want answers now." Well, of course, the ice was broken, and I got my answers. I was led to an office along with my daughter. We were joined by 2 men and 1 woman, all dressed in lab coats. With the exception of the 1 man that spoke to us, dressed in a suit, who I did now perceive was the actual man in charge. I will refer to him as Dick, just to add some levity to this experience, Rob. LOL. Dick was forthright and told me everything. He told me that this had nothing to do with the United States, but the world. I was brought on for my experience in DNA, genetics, my work with cloning, the manipulation of cells, and so forth. I was not the only one, he went on to say. The team consisted of many brilliant minds from all over the world to create the ultimate fighting machine, killing machine, breeding machine, a hybrid, artificial intelligence that can be controlled by a person simply from the back of a computer keyboard. He went on to explain that this technology is used in Afghanistan, Iraq, China, and the United States. It is used in every part of the planet. He went on to proclaim that humanity, the population, the way we lived, has been put on the fast track to be led into a new frontier, one that promotes peace, yet has to be controlled at the onset violently. It has to be controlled in a way that man is not to be blamed for this. He went on to explain that beasts, the created beasts, is the answer. He went on to tell me that they did create a DOGMAN, which we've all heard about before. Not a cryptid, but a genetically enhanced version, splicing human DNA with wolves, or as he says, werewolves. The use of the dark arts and magic. The team has used scientists, voodoo practitioners from Haiti, the shaman, religious leaders of all doctrines. The team was vast. The end game. The new world order. Once the goals were achieved, then the utilization of such mutants would cease to be used. He went on to explain that monsters were not only the part of NWO. He went on to tell me that our economy, from farming and the stock market to manufacturing, space exploration, were all in play. All of the main controls and roots of the world are part of this process. I'm not going to get into my work, Rob. I have created dogmen and hybrid creatures. I have worked in areas that I am ashamed of. Yes, these creatures are made. They are released into our national parks and forests. Some walk in our very cities, from New York to LA, not as creatures, but as lab experiments posing as human beings. These aren't aliens. These are created by human beings. My life today is not my own. Yes, I am well taken care of. However, I am not free. My daughter took her life 2 years ago. In a strange way, if this story leads to my demise, then so be it. Perhaps this is my end game. Sorry I can't give you more details or be more specific. If you ever post this, I appreciate it and I thank you. This needs to be gotten out to the public. Nancy. Take that for what you will. I believe a lot of that, there's too many stories about dogmen being created in labs. We've all heard about New World Order. We've heard about population control. We've talked about our country not even being ran by our government. The country's not run by Biden. It's not run by Trump. It's not run by any elected presidential official. There are strings, and I've talked about this ad nauseum before. There are higher ups. There's oligarchies. There's trillionaires, quadrillionaires that want this new world order. Now, is the creation of these militant, these hybrid beings a part of this? That's up for debate. You can debate a lot of what I just reported to you in this story. What I get out of this story that I believe is this: yes, these creatures are created. Yes, there is a new world order. And I believe this person. I believe that these emails that I got, which were somewhat encrypted in a sense, that went to my spam. They went to spam perhaps for a reason. Is this person even still alive today? I don't know. Sad to hear about the daughter, but it sounds like this certainly is not about peace being brought to the world, is it? This is not a peaceful story, in my opinion. Frankly, this woman and daughter were held captive. I guess that's what happened. I guess that's what eventually led to the suicide of the daughter. And it sounds like Nancy has given up on life, and I think that she knows by giving this to me that perhaps her life is in certain peril. Maybe she's not alive today, you guys. Certainly a person I've tried to contact back and get on the show. That's not going to happen. Again, she might not be with us, and if she's not, bless her soul. Take this for what it's worth. Points I agree with. Certainly. I think this happens. I hope you all have a great Saturday. Subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube if not already. Give me a like. Leave a comment. Buy my book, Bigfoot Michigan Rob Presents True Cryptid Encounters, found on Amazon. Type my name in a link. Until next time, I am Bigfoot Michigan Rob. And have a great weekend.